Have you ever stepped out of a nice warm shower, maybe hoping it would ease some morning stiffness, only to find your skin feels tight, almost papery, and inexplicably itchy later in the day? Or perhaps you've caught yourself holding your breath just a little as you step over the tub edge, a fleeting thought about balance crossing your mind. It's these small, everyday moments, often happening in the privacy of our own bathrooms, that can tell us a lot about how our needs might be changing as we get older. It might sound a bit unusual to think that something as routine as bathing could actually influence how long and how well we live. But honestly, after a certain point in life, the way we approach washing ourselves starts to matter much more than we might realize. You see, bathing isn't just about getting clean anymore. As our bodies change, it becomes about protecting our skin, which gets thinner and more delicate. It's about conserving our energy, avoiding those falls that can unfortunately become more common and have bigger consequences, and even supporting our heart health and immune systems in subtle ways. Yet, it's so easy to just keep doing things the way we always have, isn't it? We stick to the habits formed decades ago, perhaps not recognizing that what felt perfectly fine and worked well in our younger years might actually be creating small stresses or risks for us now. So, over the next little while together, I thought we could chat about some of these common bathing habits. 5, in particular, that many folks over 60 or so might want to reconsider if they're aiming for a longer, healthier, more independent life. These aren't going to be earth-shattering revelations or complicated medical procedures. In fact, that's precisely why they often get overlooked. They're woven into the fabric of our daily routines. But paying attention to these seemingly minor details can truly make a difference. People who make these small adjustments often report feeling more comfortable in their skin. They stay steadier on their feet longer, and they can reduce their chances of running into more serious problems down the line. You might even be surprised by some of the things we touch on. Something as simple as how hot you like your water could be placing a quiet burden on your body without you even noticing. The wonderful part, though, is that once you know what to look out for, making smarter choices is entirely possible, starting as soon as your very next shower or bath. Let's start with that lovely hot water, shall we? Oh, there's nothing quite like a steaming hot bath or shower, especially on a chilly morning or when those joints are feeling a bit creaky. It feels so comforting, so relaxing. Many of us have probably enjoyed that feeling for years. But here's the thing. As our skin ages, that same heat that feels so good can start to work against us. That's why dialing back the temperature is the first habit we really ought to think about changing. When water is very hot, it's incredibly effective at stripping away the natural oils, the sebum, that act as a protective barrier on our skin. Without that barrier, moisture evaporates much more quickly, leaving the skin dry, prone to itching, and even susceptible to tiny cracks. Now, for younger skin that produces plenty of oil, this might not be a huge issue. But for older adults whose oil production naturally slows down, chronic dryness isn't just uncomfortable. Those little cracks can become entry points for bacteria, leading to infections or inflammation. Wounds, even minor scratches, might take longer to heal on dry, compromised skin. I remember chatting with a gentleman named Gary, who was in his early 70s. He absolutely swore by his long, scalding showers, said it was the only way he felt truly awake and relaxed. He loved seeing the mirror completely fogged up. Around the same time, his neighbor Harold, similar age, started noticing his own skin felt constantly tight and irritated, especially after showering. Harold mentioned it to his doctor, who suggested simply turning the temperature down a notch, aiming for comfortably warm rather than hot, and applying a good moisturizer right after toweling off, while the skin was still slightly damp. Harold was skeptical, but he tried it. Within just a couple of weeks, he told me the difference was remarkable. His skin felt calmer, the itching stopped, particularly at night, and he just felt generally more comfortable. Gary, meanwhile, kept up his hot showers, not realizing that the very thing he found relaxing was gradually weakening his skin's natural defenses, making him more vulnerable to the small nicks or potential skin infections that his body now took a bit longer to fight off. Does that kind of post-shower tightness sound familiar at all? And it isn't solely about the skin. Very hot water causes the blood vessels near the skin's surface to widen or dilate quite rapidly. While this helps dissipate heat, in some individuals, particularly if you already deal with blood pressure fluctuations or certain heart conditions, this sudden dilation can lead to a quick drop in blood pressure. That's what can cause that feeling of lightheadedness, dizziness, or in some cases, even fainting, especially when stepping out of the hot shower into cooler air. These abrupt temperature shifts can put an extra, albeit subtle, strain on the cardiovascular system. It might not be something you dramatically feel each time, but over months and years, these repeated little stresses can contribute to a cumulative toll. There's a very practical reason why hospitals and care facilities generally recommend warm water for bathing. It still offers comfort and muscle relaxation, but without aggressively dehydrating the skin or causing such sudden shifts for the circulatory system. A simple way to check? If your skin looks quite red or flushed during or immediately after your shower, the water is likely too hot for your current needs. Making this adjustment doesn't mean giving up comfort. It's about fine-tuning your habits to support your body as it is now. That small temperature tweak today could mean fewer skin troubles and better circulation down the road. Building on that idea of adapting routines, let's talk about how often we bathe. There's a strong cultural notion, especially in many Western societies, that bathing or showering every single day is essential for good hygiene, respectability, and just feeling right. And certainly, during large parts of our lives, maybe when we had physically demanding jobs, commuted in crowded places, or were generally more active and sweaty, that daily routine probably made perfect sense. But just like with water temperature, our skin's needs change significantly after 60 or 70. Oil production decreases, as we mentioned. The outermost layer of skin, the epidermis, becomes thinner and retains moisture less effectively. It becomes more fragile. This is why the second habit worth rethinking is bathing too frequently, particularly if you're showering or soaking the whole body daily, perhaps using soap everywhere, without really considering how your skin is reacting. Think about someone like Alice, maybe in her late 70s, who has diligently showered every single morning since she was a young woman. It's just what she does. It feels like part of being properly dressed and ready for the day. Even though her lifestyle has slowed down considerably, she spends more time indoors. She doesn't perspire nearly as much. She sticks to that routine because she believes it's fundamental to staying fresh and healthy. It's completely understandable why she feels that way. Now, contrast her with her friend Linda, same age, who started noticing her skin felt increasingly dry, tight, and even flaky by the end of the day. She mentioned it to her dermatologist, who explained that the daily showers, especially using soap all over, were washing away those protective natural oils and disrupting the skin's delicate balance. The doctor suggested Linda try showering every other day, and on the off days, perhaps just do a quick wash of essential areas like underarms, groin, and feet using a gentle cleanser. Linda tried it, and much like Harold with the water temperature, she found her skin calmed down significantly. The itching subsided, and she felt much more comfortable. Interestingly, she reported not feeling any less clean or fresh overall. As we age, finding that right balance between necessary hygiene and preserving our skin's health becomes more crucial. Overbathing, especially with harsh soaps, those strongly perfumed ones or antibacterial types, can be particularly drying, or spending very long periods soaking in water can disrupt the skin's microbiome. That's the invisible community of beneficial bacteria living on our skin that actually helps protect us from harmful pathogens and inflammation. When this natural barrier is constantly stripped away, it can unfortunately make us more prone to things like eczema flare-ups, fungal infections, like athlete's foot or jock itch, or painful skin cracking, especially on heels or hands. And there's another aspect many people don't immediately connect. Frequent, full bathing can also contribute to overall fatigue for some older adults. Think about the physical effort involved, especially if mobility is a bit challenging, or if perhaps you manage conditions that affect your energy levels or blood pressure. Getting undressed, stepping safely into and out of the tub or shower, reaching all areas, drying off thoroughly, maybe applying lotion. These steps require energy. It might not seem like much individually, but day after day, that energy expenditure adds up. What starts as a simple hygiene routine can inadvertently become a bit of a physical stressor, especially if you're also juggling medications or health conditions that impact your stamina. It's something many of us find as we get older, isn't it? Now, please don't misunderstand me. This isn't about neglecting hygiene at all. It's about redefining what effective hygiene looks like for this particular chapter of life. You can absolutely feel clean, confident, and refreshed without needing a full body soak every single day. Consider adopting a more balanced approach. Maybe focus on thoroughly cleansing the areas that really need it daily: underarms, groin area, feet, using a gentle, fragrance-free cleanser. On alternate days, perhaps just a quick rinse or skipping the full shower altogether might be perfectly fine, allowing the rest of your skin, like your arms, legs, and back, a chance to retain their natural oils. Always try to moisturize shortly after bathing to lock in hydration. Most importantly, pay attention to your own body. How does your skin feel? Is it often tight, itchy, or flaky? That's your body giving you feedback. Stepping back from automatic daily, full-body bathing could actually be one of the kindest, most supportive things you do for your skin and even your energy levels at this stage. It's not about clinging to old rules. It's about adjusting them to best care for the person you are right now. And speaking of adjusting how we care for ourselves, this brings us to something incredibly important, perhaps one of the most critical adjustments we can make in our daily routines as we age: ensuring our bathing space is truly safe. One of the most overlooked dangers, yet tragically common and often preventable, is slipping and falling in the shower or tub. It happens so incredibly fast, doesn't it? Just a moment's loss of balance on a wet surface, reaching for something, maybe a little dizziness, and suddenly, a routine task turns into a life-altering event: a broken bone, a hospital stay, a loss of confidence and independence. That's why the third habit we absolutely must stop is bathing or showering without a sturdy support system firmly in place. This isn't just about feeling a bit more secure. For many, it's fundamentally about safety and preserving quality of life. Let me tell you about two gentlemen I knew, Walter and Eugene, both in their early 80s. Walter was fiercely independent, always had been. He took great pride in not needing a cane, never asking for help, and he often scoffed at the idea of installing what he called those old folks bars in his bathroom. He felt steady enough. One morning, simply reaching for the soap bar that had slipped, his feet went out from under him. He hit the edge of the tub hard, resulting in a hip fracture. That single fall changed everything for Walter. His mobility, his confidence, even his ability to continue living alone in his own home. It was heartbreaking. Eugene, on the other hand, had taken a quieter, more proactive approach. Around his 75th birthday, without making a big fuss, he'd had a couple of sturdy grab bars installed in his shower and put down a good quality non-slip mat. He admitted he didn't really feel like he needed them most days, but figured it was a sensible precaution. Then one day, his foot did slip on a soapy patch. Instinctively, his hand shot out and found the grab bar. He steadied himself, caught his breath, and that was it. No fall, no injury, just a profound moment of relief and gratitude for having taken that simple step. It's a stark reality that falls in the bathroom are a leading cause of serious injuries for older adults. And when you think about it, it makes sense. We're dealing with wet, slippery surfaces, often in a confined space, requiring us to bend, reach, and shift our weight. Add to that the natural changes that can come with age, perhaps slightly slower reaction times, shifts in our sense of balance, maybe vision changes, or even side effects from medications that can cause dizziness. And you have a recipe for potential disaster. What's truly tough is seeing how often people delay making these simple safety modifications, sometimes out of pride, or perhaps feeling that needing a grab bar means they're somehow giving in or admitting frailty. But I really want to encourage you to see it from the opposite perspective. Installing these supports isn't about losing independence. It's about protecting it. Think about it. A serious fall is far more likely to rob you of your independence than installing a bar that helps prevent that fall in the first place. True independence, especially as we navigate our later years, isn't about pretending we're immune to risk. It's about being smart and proactive in safeguarding ourselves so we can continue living life on our own terms for as long as possible. Does that make sense? And the good news is, this doesn't usually require a massive, expensive bathroom overhaul. Often, it's about adding a few key tools. A securely wall-mounted grab bar near the entrance to the tub or shower where you step in and out is crucial. Another one inside the shower enclosure, perhaps vertically or horizontally placed, gives you something solid to hold on to while washing or rinsing. For those who sometimes feel unsteady standing for the whole shower, a sturdy, non-slip shower chair or bench can be a game changer, allowing you to sit safely while bathing. And don't underestimate the importance of a good non-slip mat, both inside the tub or shower floor, and one outside on the floor where you step out. These aren't luxuries. They're essential safety equipment, much like seat belts in a car. You wouldn't drive without buckling up, right? Consider this the bathroom equivalent. Would you try walking across an icy path without shoes that have some grip? Then stepping onto a potentially slick, wet shower floor without something reliable to hold onto carries a similar, perhaps even greater, risk. You might feel perfectly steady today, and I hope you do for a long, long time. But balance can fluctuate, and accidents happen in a split second. That 1 second can drastically alter your future. So, if you haven't already, perhaps make this the week you look at your bathroom with fresh eyes. Could a grab bar add security? Is your mat getting worn or slippery? Maybe ask a family member, a trusted friend, or a local handy person for help with installation if needed. Making your bathroom safer might just be one of the most impactful things you can do for your long-term health and independence right now. Now, moving from the physical environment of the bathroom to our own bodies within it brings us to the fourth habit to reconsider. Simply going through the motions of bathing without really paying attention to our skin. Bathing offers this unique, private time when we're unclothed, often moving our hands over different parts of our body. It's actually one of the best opportunities we have for a quick, informal self-check. Yet, it's so easy to be on autopilot, isn't it? Scrubbing here, rinsing there, mind already on the next task of the day, without truly looking or feeling. That's why ignoring changes you might notice on your skin while bathing is a habit worth breaking. Your skin is constantly communicating, telling a story about your overall health. And if we're not tuned in, we could miss important early warning signs. Let me share another comparison. Think of Virginia and Elaine, both ladies in their mid-70s. Virginia was always efficient in the shower. Get in, get clean, get out. She'd noticed a small, darkish spot appear on her shoulder blade area some months back. But it didn't hurt or itch, so she didn't give it much thought. She couldn't see it easily anyway. By the time she eventually mentioned it offhand during a doctor's visit, it had grown and changed texture. It turned out to be a melanoma, thankfully caught, but requiring more extensive treatment than if it had been addressed earlier. Elaine, however, had made it a quiet habit during her bath to gently scan her skin, not obsessively, but just mindfully. One morning, she noticed a small, slightly scaly patch on her lower leg that felt different and hadn't been there before. It seemed minor, but because she was paying attention, she decided to get it checked. It was diagnosed as an early-stage squamous cell carcinoma, easily treatable at that point. The key difference wasn't luck, it was awareness. Our skin is our body's largest organ, and as it ages, it not only becomes more fragile, as we discussed, but changes on its surface can sometimes reflect what's happening internally. Variations in color, texture, the appearance of new growths, or sores that don't heal can sometimes be early indicators of things like infections, developing circulation problems, especially in the lower legs and feet. Complications related to diabetes, nutritional deficiencies, or yes, even different types of skin cancer, which become more common as we age. Yet, many of us barely give our skin a second glance until something is actively bothering us, like itching or pain. Bathing provides that perfect moment when your skin is fully visible or feelable. Your hands are moving across different areas, and you have the chance to notice subtle shifts. Is there a new mole, or has an existing one changed shape, size, or color? Is there a spot that seems irritated and just won't heal? Any unusual redness, bruising, or discoloration, particularly on your feet or lower legs? Are you developing persistent, dry, scaly patches, maybe behind the knees, under the breasts, along the elbows, or on your back? These signs don't automatically signal danger, but they absolutely warrant attention. This is especially true for areas we don't often look at closely, but can easily feel during washing, like the backs of our thighs, our scalp, or under our arms. It's completely understandable to feel a little apprehensive about looking closely, perhaps worried about what you might find. But ignoring your body doesn't offer any real protection. It only delays the possibility of taking action if something is amiss. The earlier potential issues are noticed. Generally, the more straightforward and effective the treatment options are. In many cases, early detection truly makes all the difference, turning a potentially serious problem into a manageable one, sometimes requiring just a simple cream or minor procedure instead of something more involved. You don't need to become anxious or hypervigilant about it. Think of it more as cultivating a gentle curiosity. Maybe use softer lighting in the bathroom if bright overhead lights feel harsh. Take just a few extra seconds to consciously run your hands over your arms, chest, abdomen, legs, and feet. Feel the texture. If something seems new, different, or persists over a couple of weeks, make a mental note or jot it down. Then, be sure to mention it to your doctor or nurse at your next appointment. This simple habit of mindful self-checking during bathing doesn't just help with early detection. It also fosters a deeper connection with and respect for your own body. You start to see it not as something that's inevitably failing, but as something that's communicating with you. Learning to listen to those signals is one of the most powerful tools we possess for safeguarding our health as we move through life. And this idea of being mindful and present naturally leads us to the fifth habit that can subtly undermine our well-being: simply rushing through the whole bathing process. It's so easy, in our busy lives, or even just out of lifelong habit, to treat bathing like another task on the to-do list. Get in, scrub down, get out, move on. But especially as we get older, that hurried pace can quietly introduce risks and stresses we might not even be aware of at first. That's why slowing down, being more deliberate in the bath or shower, is the final habit we'll chat about today. It's not just about missing a moment of potential relaxation, though that's valuable too. It's also about protecting your body from unnecessary strain. Think about Raymond and Thomas, both around 80. Raymond was always a quick mover, prided himself on efficiency. His showers were fast, under 5 minutes usually. Jump in, quick scrub, jump out. One morning, he stepped out of the shower a little too quickly, felt a sudden wave of dizziness, and had to grab the wall to steady himself. It gave him quite a fright. Thomas, however, had consciously started to slow things down after experiencing a minor stumble the year before. He changed his whole approach to bathing. Now, he lets the warm water run for a minute or two before stepping in, just to warm up the space slightly. He sometimes uses a shower chair, especially if he's feeling a bit tired. He makes a point of moving deliberately, taking a few deeper breaths while the water runs over his shoulders. What used to be just a chore has become, for him, a quieter, more grounding daily ritual. He hasn't had any dizzy spells or near misses since making that shift. When we rush, several things can happen. We're much more likely to make sudden, jerky movements, bending over too quickly to pick something up, twisting sharply to reach our back, stepping out of the tub hastily onto a potentially damp floor. These quick movements increase the risk of pulling a muscle, losing balance, or slipping. Rushing can also mean we skip crucial little steps, like thoroughly drying our feet, especially between the toes, which helps prevent fungal infections, or taking that extra minute to apply moisturizer to prevent skin from cracking, particularly on heels or elbows. These might seem like tiny omissions, but over time, they can lead to discomfort or minor problems that could have been easily avoided. One unsteady step, one moment of dizziness, one patch of dry, cracked skin that gets irritated. These often stem from simply trying to get through the process too quickly. Does that rushed feeling ever happen to you? Beyond the risk of accidents, hurrying through bathing, especially involving temperature changes, can put physiological stress on the body. As we discussed with hot water Moving rapidly from a warm, steamy environment into cooler bathroom air causes blood vessels to constrict quickly. Your heart rate might jump momentarily to adjust. For most people, this might just feel like a brief gasp or a slight shiver. But for individuals managing blood pressure issues, heart conditions, or those prone to dizziness, these abrupt shifts, compounded by hurried movements, can be genuinely risky. Again, it's not usually a dramatic, immediate event, but rather the accumulation of these small, repeated physiological stresses over the long term that can take a toll. The solution here is beautifully simple, though it requires a conscious shift in mindset. Treat bathing less like a race against the clock and more like a gentle conversation with your body. Give yourself permission to take a few extra minutes. If standing feels tiring some days, have that shower chair or bench ready. Move slowly and deliberately, especially when bending, reaching, or stepping in and out. Allow yourself to just feel the water for a moment. Let it relax your muscles, warm your joints. Breathe. Maybe even see it as a brief, daily opportunity for mindfulness, a chance to reset before or after the day's activities. Because truly, at this stage of life, the pace at which we do things often matters just as much as what we do. Slowing down isn't a sign of weakness or inefficiency. It's a sign of wisdom, of giving your body the care and attention it needs to stay strong and stable. That mindful approach builds resilience, enhances safety, and ultimately contributes to a greater sense of well-being and longevity. So, the next time you step into the shower or run a bath, perhaps ask yourself, am I rushing out of habit, or am I giving my body the gentle pace it deserves right now? You might be genuinely surprised at how much safer, calmer, and more grounded you feel when you honor that time. So, as we've been chatting here, thinking about these 5 common habits: the water temperature, how often we bathe, making sure we have proper support, paying attention to our skin, and the pace we keep. I hope you found some food for thought. Which of these perhaps resonated with your own routine? Maybe you recognized the appeal of that extra hot shower or the automatic nature of a daily bath. Or perhaps you've hesitated about adding a grab bar, or realized you tend to rush through without much thought, or haven't really been using bath time as a chance to check in with your skin. It's important to remember, none of these habits likely started with bad intentions. They often come from how we were raised, the routines we built over decades, what felt right and worked perfectly well when we were younger. But part of the wisdom of aging gracefully is recognizing that our bodies and their needs evolve. Adapting our habits isn't about admitting defeat or dwelling on limitations. It's about showing respect for the body we have now, ensuring its safety, and promoting its continued health. It's a proactive choice for a better future. Bathing might seem like such a small, mundane part of the day, but as we've seen, it touches upon so many aspects of our well-being: skin health, circulation, energy levels, safety, even our sense of dignity and independence. It really can be either a source of minor, cumulative risks or a moment for gentle self-care and healing. The choice truly lies in our approach. So, if you recognized yourself in any of these habits we discussed, please don't feel judged or criticized. The goal here is simply awareness. Notice the habit, acknowledge it without blame, and then consider making small, gradual shifts. Maybe turn the temperature dial down just a little bit next time. Perhaps skip one full shower this week if your skin feels dry. Look into getting that grab bar installed. or replacing that old bath mat. Consciously slow down your movements in the shower tomorrow morning. Take 30 extra seconds to really look at and feel your skin. Listen not just to the sound of the water, but to the quiet feedback your body might be giving you. Remember, taking care of yourself well in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond isn't about trying to recapture youth. It's about honoring the stage of life you're in right now. It's about choosing, day by day, to live with more intention, more awareness, and profound self-respect. Be kind to yourself in this process. Every small adjustment is a step in the right direction. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I truly hope this conversation has been helpful. I genuinely love to hear from you now. What's one thing that stood out to you today, or perhaps a small change you might consider making? Please feel free to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Reading them is always encouraging, and sharing helps build a supportive community for all of us. Your insights are so valuable. If you found this chat helpful and informative, giving the video a like would be wonderful. It helps others find it too. And if you haven't already, perhaps consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We aim to share more conversations like this, focused on helping us all stay stronger, safer, and more informed as we navigate these vibrant later years.